Today, I effed up by living in a dark bedroom for 6 years. For 6 years, I lived with no bedroom light because the overhead lamp was broken, but turns out it was fine and it was just set to a dim setting the whole time. Let's sit back and enjoy the story. The overhead fan in our bedroom uses one of those compact halogen light bulbs. 6 years ago, the bulb burned out and got really dim, just barely aglow. I bought a replacement bulb, but when I put that one in it was also barely lighting up, so I realized the unit was bad. The fan still worked great. It literally is the best fan I've ever had because it moves a ton of air and is super quiet. The fan had also been a gift when we moved into our house. The unit cost over $400, so I didn't really want to replace it even though our bedroom doesn't get much natural light, so it is pretty dark. So since then, over the years, my wife and I have had to make do with no overhead light. We open the windows during the day, and at night use a combination of bedside lamps and the bathroom light. It's never really as good of lighting as an overhead lamp, so I keep some flashlights up there for when we are cleaning or looking for something, etc. After 6 years of living in the dark, this winter I just decided I would replace the darn thing. But before I did, I decided to try one last time with another bulb because, however unlikely, it's possible both bulbs I had tried were bad. So I'm up there installing the new bulb, grab the remote, the fan has a remote, and as I'm turning the light on I realize the goddamn thing is dimmable. For 6 effing years, we lived with the inconvenience of no overhead light, and the whole time it was just because the darn thing was set to dim. Effed me. Let's see what others have to say about the story. First response, my mystery solved. OMG OP, thank you. We moved into a new house several months ago. The ceiling fan light in my office works, but wasn't bright enough. I've just been ignoring it. Your post inspired me to see if it was dimmed. It was in fact dimmed. Much better now. Okay, many people have asked, so I will explain that the remote control has 2 buttons for the light. I assumed one would brighten and one would dim. But they both toggle. Odd, but I ignored it. Turns out if you hold the button, it changes brightness. From the replies, it seems that standard behavior is a single light button that cycles through brightness. This one, the button you choose determines the direction it starts in when cycling brightness. Second response, you brightened my life. I sat at my dining room table under a very dim fan light that I could have sworn used to be brighter a year ago reading your post. I got up and hunted down the fan remote stuck forgotten in a drawer and replaced the batteries. There was no obvious slider for a dimmer, but I just held the light button down and what do you know, the light got a lot brighter. It is fair to say that your post has brightened my life. Thanks OP. Third response, we stumbled in the dark. I worked at a retail job where the counter was lit by track lighting. One day the lights got darker and no one knew why. Took me a month to notice the tiny dimmer control on the switch. So that's like 6 employees, including the owner, stumbling around in dim light for a month. Fourth response, my kid figured it out. Glad I didn't wait 6 years to figure that one out when we bought a house. It only took my 5-year-old 2 months to tell us what the problem was. Lastly, we have our final and fifth response, my ceiling fan customers are still complaining. I used to sell ceiling fans at a high-end lighting store. About twice a month, someone would call complaining about their defective dim light on the fan. They usually chuckled in disbelief when I told them to hold down the light button on the remote, and they realized that's it dimmable, and they had slowly been dimming it when turning it on and off. You are not alone, OP. Like and subscribe if you love a good story.